Board of School Directors, regular board meeting, Tuesday, August 16, 2022. All rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
Under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Do I hear a roll call, please?
Does that real quick.
Mrs. Bova.
Here.
Mrs. Carucci.
Here.
Mrs. Delaney.
Here.
Mrs. McBride.
Here.
Ms. Mungo.
Here.
Mr. Ritter.
Here.
Dr. Singh.
Here.
Mrs. Warning.
Here.
And Mr. Williams.
Here. Thank you, ma'am. I've already misplaced that we have one person who has called in advance. Who took my papers? Oh, there it is. To speak on agenda items, that would be Ms. Donna Burns. Go to the podium, please. Tell us who you are. Tell us a little bit about yourself. No, I'm just kidding. You can just get right to the point, Ms. Burns.
And some of you laugh because I've been here before.
Never saw you before. Ever.
Never saw me before.
We're in court.
So my name is Donna Burns. I live at 1240 Harvest Drive. I've been a Monroe resident for over 20 years. I've been actively involved with the marching band for the last 8 years. I have been the booster president for the last 3, and I'm now the vice president of that organization. I'm here both as a parent of a senior and representing the band booster board. I want to thank the district, especially Dr. Short, for protecting our kids in the last couple weeks, for taking the swift action on the issue with the band staff member by including the termination in tonight's agenda items. This member has admitted to providing alcohol to a student on school property, but more than a victim has been hurt in this case. By the actions of this one individual, he has taken away parts of the band season that cannot be replaced. This is the 3rd season in a row that has been impacted for these band students. For those who are not familiar with what our band does, they participate in an organization called PIMBA, and they're a competitive band. And just so people understand, I'll use a sports analogy. It's as if you took the football team, they lost a week of practice, they had to play up a division, but they can only use 5 offensive plays. These kids they can't do their competitive show. So the show that these kids have been planning on doing for our large group of seniors who are very talented, they can't do it now because they lost a week of practice because of what's happened. And it's not the district's fault, I'm very clear. It's because of this individual. There are senior boys who are incredibly dedicated to music. One of them is my son, and I have seen the heartbreak in his own eyes for losing something that he holds so dear. Sorry, I've been holding it together, and that's my thought tonight.
Don't be sorry. Just go
I
ahead.
hope that the actions of the district prevent this predator from ever again being around children. These kids did absolutely nothing wrong, and we want to give them as much of the band season as we can, including the trip to Disney. The band boosters are working with administration to resubmit the Disney trip request to adjust for new staff members. I ask that the board consider this action quickly, as we are approaching a time that we will not be able to finish logistics for the trip if we do not wait much longer. As you all know, we're scheduled to go at the end of November, and we have actually now held off on buying the Disney tickets. With all this stuff that's happened, we were actually going to buy them about 2 weeks ago. So we're working with administration to resubmit that request, and we can't wait to the September meeting, so you guys will see that out of normal meeting time, because if we don't buy those tickets within the next week or 2, we logistically won't be able to go to Disney. And it's not fair to these kids that have already lost so much, not just with this, with COVID and everything else, to not give them that opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Burns. I'd like to say Ms. Burns invited me to speak to her and the boosters last evening, and I personally would like to apologize to Ms. Burns and the band personnel. Clearly, there's a sense among the band community that they are sort of being painted with this same broad brush, and there's a bit of a cloud over them. And I certainly, I haven't done anything to dispel that notion, because it never occurred to me that someone would train their focus on anything but the individual responsible for this heinous act. So I want to take this opportunity to say I apologize. I wasn't able to put myself in your shoes. We are all together in this. We'll do anything we can to support your effort to get these kids caught up. We will move on the Disney trip as soon as we can. And obviously we'll get to the bottom of the issue with the employee. In fact, the personnel is D on our agenda tonight, but we're going to move that up a bit so that we can address this as quickly as possible. But I appreciate everything you're doing. I appreciate as much as I can what you've gone through, and we're going to keep working to try to mend this fence with you folks. The person in question, you know, you said it better than I can because we're restricted by due process and a lot of other steps. So I'm not going to go into detail as to what I wish might happen to this guy. And also, I'm a Catholic, you know, hate the sin, love the sinner. But anyway, we're going to move on. Do we have anyone else with agenda items? Any comments from residents on agenda items? No? Okay. So, Dr. Short, you want to move D up to front of the line and let's get to it?
Thank you, Mr. Bova. Under section D, personnel agenda, Mrs. Crump, if we can move forward with section D.
Thank you, Dr. Short. Resolved that the Gateway Board of School Directors accepts and approves the personnel agenda items 1 through 9 is listed in section D for the regular board meetings. Under resignations, we have 3 who have been added since the agenda meetings. Under leave of absence, we have 3. Under section 3 for transfers, there are 4. 2 new additions have been added since the agenda. Under 4 for employment, we're recommending Jason Warning for a special education position at Ramsey. We're also requesting for cyber facilitators for the 22-23 school year at the rate that's listed. And also for number 5, we have a listing of fall athletic and advisor position. Under 6, we have 5 volunteers. Under section 7, we are asking to increase the substitute rate for all of our substitute employees, food service, custodial, secretary, and paraprofessionals to $12 per hour. Approve a transition agreement, an extension of a transition agreement. And number 9 is the notice of dismissal resolution. Whereas the district administration has provided the Board of School Directors with sufficient allegations to justify the issuance of a statement of charges and notice of dismissal against professional employee 2525. And whereas the board has determined that sufficient evidence exists to authorize the initiation of dismissal proceedings pursuant to Article 9 of the Public School Code of 1949 as amended, now therefore be it resolved as follows. The administration and the solicitor are hereby authorized, empowered, and directed to initiate disciplinary proceedings against the employee under Article 9 of the Public School Code. The statement of charges and notice of dismissal against the employee are hereby approved, subject to reasonable modifications as may deemed appropriate by the administration and the solicitor. The board is authorized to sign the charges and notice of dismissal, and the board secretary is directed to attest the board president's signature and serve on the employee. Effective August 17th, 2022, the employee shall be suspended without pay pending disposition of the charges. The administration and solicitor are hereby authorized, empowered, and directed to take all necessary actions to effectuate the purpose of this resolution. The unpaid suspension will continue pending termination, subject to the employee's right to reinstatement and other rights he has in accordance with Section 1130 of the Public School Code and relevant Pennsylvania law, provided employee timely requests a board hearing and it is not dismissed. If employee's proposed dismissal is challenged through the collective bargaining agreement's grievance arbitration procedure, any reinstatement by an arbitrator shall be effective in accordance with the arbitration award without further board action. This would be signed effective this evening, 16th day of August.
So moved.
Second.
That motion was made by Mr. Williams, seconded by Ms. Mungo. Are there any questions on the items that Ms. Crump just read?
I have a question about number 7, the approval of substitute rates. It is my understanding that we are substantially down in some of these buildings for the needs of the services. Do we feel that $12 is competitive enough against
Well, you also have to evaluate some of the other salaries that we have in the collective bargaining agreement. I mean, it's a step that we can take right now, and then as we evaluate it, we can go further.
Okay, thank you.
I just have one question, Ms. Crump.
Yes, sir.
We used the date August 17th, which is
I-
tomorrow.
It's August 16th. I apologize.
So is this date a wrong date on paper?
I will reprint it, yes.
Okay, so the effective date will be August 16th,
16th.
not the 17th.
That is correct.
Correct.
That also is going to be changed down below, is that correct?
Correct.
I got that, thank you.
And that was caught by Valerie, so she caught that, that's good.
Any other questions on this section?
I just want to say that I'm going to be voting no for Mr. Schott, but I know he's going to be going. But if you notice, number 8, the transition, Mrs. Crump still likes to stay here. So, I mean, you notice she's not going. But no, I just want to wish Paul the best, and thank you for everything. You've been phenomenal.
Any other questions?
I too would like to thank Paul and wish him good luck in the future. He's like our number one draft choice being taken from us. You know, he's probably the best, if not the best, business manager around, and it's going to be a big loss to us, but I think the guy we have stepping in his shoes will be able to pick up the slack and take over. But again, Paul, good luck to you, and thanks for
Just to be
everything.
clear, he really wasn't a number one pick. He was a free agent. We brought him along. We trained him up, we coached him up, and now look at him. So he was wandering around the parking lot trying to find his calculator.
Likewise, I've had the pleasure of knowing Paul, Mr. Schott, for over 20 years to be exact. And he has brought a lot of wealth and experience in fiscal management to the taxpayers of Monroeville and Pitcairn. And I can't say enough about the individual. Good person, wonderful employee, and all of the different jobs that he's held over the years doesn't necessarily just categorize itself in a business manager, because he does do so many things. But with that, sitting next to Paul is Mr. Mike Zarellis. Mike has been with us for a couple of years now and has learned the ropes, and we will be having more information about Mike moving forward. I've talked to the board, but Mike is very vested in this district and has done a good job in assisting Paul over the years, and he's with
So
us.
is Paul.
Thank you. I'm still a free agent.
All you're going to spend more time with your kids. It's really important until they get to be teenagers. And if you want to come back at that time, get away from them. I'll keep that.
All right, anyone else?
Oh, I just wanted to say, are you going to be able to talk as fast as? Because he would speed through that. You're very good. Wish you the best.
Well, we're going to find out in a couple of minutes, aren't we?
That's right.
All right,
Mrs. Crump, I see 2 paras are resigning from Ramsey. Do we have replacements for them? Do we have enough?
We have an additional one who we're waiting on paperwork on. We also have a meeting on Thursday with 2 third-party companies to solicit for additional paraprofessionals. We also sent out a blast this evening for all of our positions that are open, and we will be broadcasting again on Monster.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else? Do we have a roll call, please, Bonnie?
Yes, Mrs. Cerruti.
Aye.
Mrs. Delaney. Aye. Mrs. McBride.
Aye.
Ms. Mungo.
Aye.
Mr. Ritter.
Aye.
Dr. Singh.
Aye.
Ms. Warning.
I, except for number 4, I abstain from A and B.
Thank you. Mr. Williams.
Aye, except for 1A.
Thank you. And Mr. Boba.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Bonnie. All right, we're going to get back into our regular rotation, our new segment, board member discussion items. Since this is kind of an informal free-for-all, anyone who's interested, anyone's got anything to say, go right ahead.
Somebody over here.
I have one. The kids always get together around the flagpole, some of them, and they take some time to just stand before the Lord and lift up what's coming up in the next school season. And I would like to invite some of the other folks who would like to do that, some of the adults. If you'd like to join me, Saturday, April 27th at the Old Stone Church. August 27th, Saturday, about 10:30, maybe 11 o'clock at the Old Stone Church outside, just to take some time and sift through some of the things that weigh heavily on me and might weigh heavily on the parents and other folks of the community. Sort of like the kids do when they stand around the flagpole and pray. Let's just take some time out, stand before the Lord, and pour our hearts out and see what happens. So I'll be there at the Old Stone Church, August 27th, Saturday, about 10:30 or 11. I mean, it's going to be quite informal. No set agenda or anything, just a time to pour our hearts out. That's all I got.
What?
I just wanted to bring up a little board report now instead of at the end of the meeting. We've been talking a lot about bringing in a Monroeville SRO for the start of the school year. We've actually been working with Monroeville on this for several months, and I know there were some delays last year. We actually had grant money approved, and we thought we were going to be able to pull it off last year. But they were just having a lot of staffing issues, and it just didn't happen. So we were pretty set, I thought, to move forward for the school year with a 50-50 split and bring back a Monroeville SRO again to try to help us fill our gaps in school police. But I just want to let everybody know that we're just kind of throwing a little curveball. The council meeting has kind of changed the terms of the payment agreement and are asking us to do 75-25, with us doing the 75 instead of 50-50. So, we have to look at the numbers again because we have some things budgeted. We have grant money coming in for some metal detectors that we were going to buy. So it's kind of changing, the financial situation of how we were going to allocate some of the taxpayer money. Personally, I'm hoping that we can sit down and talk to them about the reasoning and go back to the 50-50, because I think that's pretty fair, especially since all the money that council collects and Monroeville collects generally belong to you, the taxpayer. So I'm just optimistic that we can work through whatever issue that they're having, and our intention is to still go forward with the Monroeville school police officer addition to our staff. So I just wanted to give that brief update. Thank you.
SRO stands for.
School resource officer.
Dr. Short or Mr. Bova, do you want to tell them what the salary of the police officer coming from Monroeville would be?
And I do not currently have that exact figure yet. It all depends upon experience, number of years service.
Okay.
There is a wide range, so when I do receive that, I can definitely inform the public and the board.
Okay, thank you.
So Mary Beth, the school season's going to be starting up pretty soon, a week or two, right? So this is like something that needs to be dealt with pretty quickly, right?
Yeah, I would like to have a resolution very quickly.
Let's see how we can work together and iron something out.
Counting on you, John. Anybody else want to add anything? Any of my security committee people?
I know, we just
I
wanted,
think it's important that we're able to work with them and figure this out, because we obviously have money set aside that we want to set aside for metal detectors and mental health, and we don't want anyone to be slighted. So we want to make sure that we put our kids in the best position to be safe. And we want our parents to know that our kids we're protecting our kids. So we're hoping that we could sit down with Monroeville and come up with a solution to help everybody.
Yeah, very well said. Anyone else either on this subject or any other subject? No? All right, then, let's move on to minutes of previous meetings. Do I hear Mr. Williams making a motion to?
John seconds.
So moved.
Mr. Williams made the motion. Mr. Ritter seconded the motion to, take the minutes from the last, where we have study session, June 14, regular meeting, June 21, and special board meeting, July 26. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Excellent. All right, let's get rolling.
Okay, before we move on to section B, Micah, if you want to start the PowerPoint real quick. We have some information that we wanted to share with our constituents, our students, parents, and families. Mr. Brown, is the smart board turned on? I believe so.
Are you asking me or the other Mr. Brown?
Well, good question. Is it on a Micah?
Any Mr. Brown.
Yes.
You have to stand back a little farther.
Figure out which one it is.
It's the one with an orange button on it.
Give it time. Warms up.
About 30 seconds.
Button, who's got the button? I really want them to chocolate.
Warm up. What is this, like a Philco television?
There you go. Yeah. Where's the popcorn?
Doritos.
No, that's okay.
Heartwarming, please.
Status message. Searching for service, Micah. Is it connected to the HDMI? The computer?
Yeah, I was gonna say, there's a input button on the remote that we have to press.
There it is. Wait a minute. Okay. Thank you both, Mr. Browns. Administrative back to school update. I wanted to provide our board, viewing public, constituents, family members, information about coming back and for the start of the 22-23 school year. Next slide, please. Welcome back. Some important informational dates that everyone should be aware of. Most notably, Thursday, August 25th, first student day for grades K-1 through 12. Also, we have kindergarten orientation that day. Kindergarten first day is scheduled for Friday, August 26th. And of course, Thursday, September 1st, we have our K-4 Meet the Teacher night. Information will be sent out via our school principals, via Skyward. Next slide, please. Skyward Technology and Reminders. Micah?
Yes, so just a reminder to everyone, we got a new website over this summer. So when you visit it, you'll see it looks a little bit different. We hope it's a little bit easier to find items on it. We're going to be enhancing it over time because now we have more detailed tracking. So if you haven't seen it, you should check it out. For Skyward, we're asking all parents and guardians to log into Skyward to update their student information. When they log in, they'll be prompted with something called Online Information Update. It will walk them through updating all the emergency contacts, any medical changes that may have occurred over the summer, any address changes that have to be verified, and they can sign off on the most recent student handbooks for their school. Once they do that, the schedule will be released and the student and the parent will be able to see their schedules. In addition, you can check Skyward for your bus stop, the times, and the bus number. If you have any additional questions, you can reach out to the STA Bus Garage with the number on the screen. And when you visit our website, there is actually a video tutorial on how a family member would log into Skyward and update the information. And that's about it.
Thank you. Next slide, please. Health and Safety Plan, Dr. Chakey.
Thank you, Dr. Short. We just wanted to update everyone in regard to the health and safety plan for the beginning of the school year. If you can go to the next slide, Maiko. From the beginning, we've always relied on guidance from the PA Department of Health and the CDC. We received some new guidance for the plan. Some of the highlights: quarantine is no longer required regardless of vaccination status. Isolation when COVID-19 positive, regardless of vaccination status, is reduced to 5 days. Asymptomatic testing no longer needed. So thinking about all of that, we're going to incorporate that within our health and safety plan, which we already have, and that will be updated onto our district website tomorrow. We are going to still report the cases that we have within our district. Kathy Bishop and the rest of our Gateway nurses have done an excellent job in communicating our numbers to the Allegheny County Health Department. So that's going to continue this year on a weekly basis.
Next slide. Safety and security, Dr. Jacob.
Couple updates with the safety and security. Next slide, please. We want to make sure that everyone is on the same page as far as some of the procedures for the upcoming school year. So we outlined some of the GSD safety non-negotiables. These are things that must happen in every building, that have been happening in every building, but we just want to reiterate to all staff members and teachers. Of course, all visitors must adhere to the established entry procedures that we have in place in each building. All doors within each school must be locked at all times. This was a recommendation that came out of some of the PA State Police risk and vulnerability studies in the guidance. This is something that we want to incorporate to make sure that all students and staff are safe. No prop doors. We want to remind all staff about that, and all employees must display their Gateway ID at all times. And the other point is confront visitors that don't have a badge displayed. One of the things that we learned from the state police and walking some of our schools is that we can't defer to giving people the benefit of the doubt. If there's someone within the building, we can't just dismiss and say, well, I guess they're working on an HVAC unit, or I guess this person is just making a delivery. We want to make sure that we stay really vigilant in confronting people that don't have a badge on and finding out where they're going and making sure that we take those additional steps to make sure all students and staff are safe at all times. Couple updates with the school police. The police and the security, they report directly to the principal. We met with them today for an orientation to begin the school year. One of the main themes that came out of the meeting was that we need them to be visible, mobile, proactive. Let's be regular, active participants in promoting a positive school culture. One of the non-negotiables that we have with our police force is that each school will have an armed police officer at all times. And we know that sometimes that becomes an issue because of call-offs or the limited number of officers that we have. So we're hoping to remedy that situation with an additional Monroeville SRO. So we're working toward making that happen as well. And again, we also have the addition of some of the security officers that have been brought on board last year.
Next slide.
Some of the safety updates, again, I mentioned a little bit about the PA State Police risk and vulnerability assessment. We have a completed assessment of Ramsey, and we also have one completed at Evergreen. We received our write-up and the recommendations from Ramsey. We should be receiving the Evergreen report soon, and the remaining schools are going to be completed between September and October when students come back this school year. The GSD emergency operations plan has been updated. Myself, the safety committee, Brian Key, our school police officer, have reviewed this, and it'll be presented to teachers on the first day, well, the August 23rd in-service day. Also, each school has a school-wide EOP, and that's going to be shared by principals. One of the good things that we're really trying to incorporate this year is having a lot more safety discussions and feedback sessions with teachers and staff, just to make sure that we find out about any issues that may be coming up within the classrooms and address them immediately. The emergency operations plan that will be presented to teachers, it's broken into a couple sections where it identifies an incident command system for each school. It also shows a building map within each school plan. It has a command section that identifies roles and responsibilities of GSD Police and Monroeville Police. There's an operations section that talks about student care. It shows the roles and responsibilities of teachers, substitute teachers, touches on items of student release and reunification. There's also a logistics section that identifies what needed supplies we may need and any communication efforts. One of the major aspects of this year is definitely the ALICE training. We want to make sure that everyone within our school community is well-versed in ALICE. We have our introduction to students, and all of these dates have been set district-wide. So there's a common day for each of these drills or discussions. So we're going to have our introduction to students August 25th and 26th. We'll have our tabletop discussion. This is when teachers will discuss certain scenarios with students on September 8th and October 18th. And then we'll have our ALICE full drills where students will be moving throughout the building on September 23rd, December 16th, January 31st, and March 14th. We will be sending out a district letter to outline these dates as they become near.
As part of our district-wide comprehensive approach for our student safety and well-being, bullying prevention is one of those, and it really ties into our positive behavior support, trauma-informed care, and our social emotional learning that we'll be utilizing again this year. So you're aware that we sent the Oveus survey in the spring of 2022. It's a robust document that we received for each individual school. Principals have reviewed the results and will be reviewing the results with the staff and looking for patterns and implementing an action plan. They'll look at things such as prevalence, the forms of bullying, the location, duration, how it's being reported. And as part of that is we also review the bullying policy annually as well.
Carouselis is a mental health care coordination that we've partnered with for this upcoming school year. They work alongside school districts to quickly connect students, school staff, and their families to quality mental health and substance use treatment providers matched to their needs. They complement the school staff and support structure systems that we have at Gateway. They eliminate barriers and are available 24/7, 365 days a year. And we will be rolling this out with staff next week in our opening day in services. And we will also be rolling out information to our parents via Skyblast and via the website.
Community relations events. Next slide, Micah. As we begin to come out of COVID, one of the topics that I've heard recently from a number of PTO and board level individuals has been the return of superintendent roundtable conversations. These will be scheduled monthly. They will incorporate every building, all 6 throughout the district. Also, education committee meetings where we will have review of curriculum and resources. We have a number of new programs that we're excited about this year that our teachers are becoming familiar with during the in-service activities. And we would like to be able to share all of these resources to our family members, our parents, with the help of our staff and support personnel. Included within the community relations events would be FTO, PTO, officers' joint meetings. These would be held collectively 2 times per year to have a sit down and discuss different issues, upcoming events, situations, or happenings within the district. Also, building level specific events, meet the teacher night, open house, in Title I parent meetings in partnership with the Monroeville Public Library, both in the fall and the spring. All of these, of course, will be blasted out via Skyward. Dress code reminder, Dr. Chakey? We may have lost Dennis. Okay, the dress code, reminders for families, and this is the policy that's taken directly from our school district board policy and also from our student handbooks. Parameters of generally accepted community standards, students are required to show proper attention to personal cleanliness, fashions, and fads that constitute a health and safety hazard to oneself or others will not be permitted. Student dress and personal appearance must be of such character as to not disrupt or distract from the educational environment of school. Any form of dress or appearance so determined to diminish instructional effectiveness or may constitute a threat to the health, safety, and welfare of students will not be permitted. Teachers who detect these violations of dress code should contact the office immediately, and that would be the building level principal. Students violating these guidelines will not be permitted to attend classes until the inappropriateness of their dress is corrected. Next slide. Couple of notes that comes from policy. Footwear must be worn at all times. No footwear is permitted, which can cause damage to the property. Next, dress code clothing. Clothing that depicts, advertises, or promotes any of the following is prohibited. I'm not going to read those, but you can see that they are bulleted. Other loose-fitting items, oversized pants must be secured. Bare midriff, lower backside, sides of the body, undergarments may not be exposed. Shirts and blouses must be properly buttoned. Spaghetti strap tank tops are not permitted. Next. Wearing of hats, hoods, headbands, other head coverings is prohibited inside the building. Also, the carrying of hats or caps in the school is not permitted. Any headgear worn due to religious beliefs or medical reasons is acceptable. Dress code, accessories. Students will be required to move certain body piercings, jewelry, certain areas. Such accessories and jewelry may be unsafe to the students or observers during the performance of an activity. Chains that are attached to wallets or other items are not permitted. Sunglasses are not permitted. Any apparel, jewelry, accessories, notebook, or manner of brewing prohibited, which by virtue of the Keller arrangement trademark or any attribute denotes, advocates, or promotes any of the following: membership in gang, drug, alcohol, tobacco use, violence, disruptive behavior, offensive or profane language is unacceptable. Next. Make sure you check your school's website for the latest information. All of these slides will be posted to the district website for everyone to take a look at again at their leisure. Thank you.
Beautiful. Anybody have any questions?
Lights,
Can we have lights
please,
again, please?
Robin. Thank you, Ms. Mungo.
I noticed the cell phone survey went out today.
Survey cell phone did go out. We are collecting the data, and we should be able to update the board and the public as we receive that.
Did we order those hangers as a backup? Good.
Do you want to explain how those hangars are going to be used in the schools?
Currently, within our policy and handbook procedures, cell phones are currently allowed in schools. However, there is the appropriateness of when and where they can be used. Within the teachers' rooms, teachers have the authority to determine the use of the cell phone. District is purchasing what we call sleeves, and these would be on a hanger that would be displayed somewhere in the front of the classroom, where students, if the teacher mandates it, would place the cell phone that is visible for them to see in a numbered slot that the student would be identified with. At the beginning of the class, the cell phone would be placed in the slot. At the end of the class, the student would be able to remove the cell phone. Some teachers may incorporate the use of cell phones within their lesson, understanding that this device is the most powerful device that we've ever had in our hands. And the capabilities of this is a strong educational tool and asset if used correctly. A number of our students are adept at using this, either as a means to take pictures of notes, download them, organization. It's a personal laptop for a lot of our students. So teachers are comfortable with the use of these in class, but understand that there are parameters and there's an understanding that it is not acceptable to use as a social media outlet, to view Netflix, to film or take pictures of students and or incidents in the building. All violators of this will be dealt with by the administration. Thank you.
Thank you. Can we take their cell phones if they're violating the usage of the classroom?
What's the discipline for that?
If a student violates the policy, the cell phone will be taken. Parent will be called to pick up the cell phone. It will be secure. Disciplinary issue will take place. And I can't say exactly what that is depending on certain situation.
Dress code violations?
Same deal. If the student is violating the dress code, they will be summoned to the office. We do have certain attire, t-shirts, gator t-shirts, something that could be worn to replace what is being worn by that individual child.
Can we add no pajamas, slippers, and blankies?
I mean,
you look at me like I'm joking, but
I understand what you're saying.
Students need to come to school with an attitude that they're going to learn. And if you come to school in your pajama pants with your slippers and your blanket, you're coming to school to sleep.
It's unacceptable.
So it's not acceptable, and I think we should add that to the student handbook, in my opinion,
Well noted.
because I have seen it.
Well noted.
And I don't think it's acceptable, and it just shows that you're not in the right mentality to learn.
And school districts around us are taking their phones and implementing uniforms, and we don't want to have to do that here.
True. We could implement uniforms.
But it's a learning environment, and I understand the need for phones and comfortability here all day, but it's
I
possible.
would say if we don't see improvement, the board would definitely consider uniforms.
Definitely.
Moving right along, section B, bills and financial reports.
First, I would like to thank Dr. Short, the board, and his administrative team for giving me this opportunity. I would also like to thank Mr. Schott for mentoring me for the last 3 years and getting me prepared for this day. I realized on my second day of the job, there was a right way, the wrong way, and a gateway. Thank you, Mr. Schott.
It's true.
With that being said, financial reports. Resolved that the Gateway Board of School Directors approves sections B1, list of bills, and B2, financial reports, as listed in section B at the Tuesday, August 16th, 2022 regular board meeting. Item 1, financial reports. Section B1, list of bills, August 2022. Section B1, list of bills, August 2022, added after the study section. Section B2, financial statements, June 2022. And Section B2, financial statements, July 2022.
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. Williams, seconded by Ms. McBride. Any questions on that motion? Nope. Roll call, Bonnie.
Mrs. Delaney.
Aye.
Mrs. McBride.
Aye.
Ms. Mungo.
Aye.
Mr. Ritter.
Aye.
Dr. Singh.
Aye.
Mrs. Warning.
Aye.
Mr. Williams.
Aye.
Mr. Bova.
Aye.
Mrs. Cerucci.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Section C, we have no items previously tabled. Moving along to section E, conferences and conventions. Dr. Chakey?
There are no conferences.
There aren't any. There aren't any.
Oh, we have not, I'm sorry. We're awaiting updated
Okay.
paperwork for that, so. Section F, administrative resolutions. Dr. Rossi.
Item number 1 is approve the following non-public instructional service agreements as listed. Item number 2 is approve the final approval of the PA Future Ready Comprehensive Plan. Item 3 is a new agenda item. We just received it late last week. Approve the Gateway Cyber Academy course catalog. Of course, we use Waterfront Learning, the EduCaby platform.
Business manager.
Item 4, approve the extension of the current agreement for Construction Engineering Consultants Incorporated to perform the required testing and inspection services at the various hourly rates with a new not to exceed total amount of $55,000 during the applicable remaining duration of the Gateway Middle School renovation project. Note, the above agreement extension is in addition to the original agreement approved by the board during the August 17, 2021 regular board meeting in the not to exceed the total amount of $55,000 for the required testing and inspection services that are related to the soils, foundations, concrete, masonry, steel welding and bolting, steel framing and decking, and sprayed-on fireproofing. Item 5, approve the resignation of Paul A. Schott, who is serving as the district's current primary voting delegate to the Allegheny County Southeast Tax Collection Committee, effective as of August 31st, 2022. Item 6, approve the resignation of Michael S. Zarelius, who is serving as the district's current first alternate delegate to the Allegheny County Southeast Tax Collection Committee, effective as of December 31st, 2022. Item 7, approve the appointment of Michael S. Zarelius to serve as the district's new primary voting delegate to the Allegheny County Southeast Tax Collection Committee, effective as of September 1st, 2022. Item 8, approve the appointment of Guy Rossi to serve as the district's new first alternate delegate to the Allegheny County Southeast Tax Collection Committee, effective as of September 1st, 2022. Item 9, approve, in accordance with Section 404 of the Pennsylvania Public School Code, the resignation of Paul A. Schott as the district's current school board treasurer, effective as of August 31st, 2022. Item 10, approve, in accordance with Section 404 of the Pennsylvania Public School Code, the appointment of Michael S. Zarelius as the district's new school board treasurer, commencing on September 1st, 2022 through June 30th, 2023. Item 11, approve the district's purchases and payments for the following maintenance departments items during the 2023 fiscal year. Please note that the 2 items have been added. The first item added was purchase of the finished hardware, hollow metal frame and metal door for replacement at the Gateway High School side entrance for a cost of $9,215 for a total of $16,645. The other item added was mulching and bin maintenance for the remainder of the 2022 season for a total of $17,075. A grand total of all items to be purchased of $33,720. Item 12, approve the granting of the district right-of-way access and approve any applicable Peoples Gas-related documents required to enable the right-of-way access from Matthew and Sharon Snyder, located at 2590 Tilbrook Road, Monroeville, PA 15146. Lot and block 857, F as in Frank 303. Note, the above right-of-way access is an area on the district's campus that can't be utilized by the district. Item 13, approve the change orders for Licarius Construction Company and Moran and Mern in the total net amount of $14,405.39 as depicted below. Item 14, recognition of the district's booster clubs and supporter organizations for the 2023 fiscal school year.
If I could jump in, item number 6, just want to make an edit in note 1. Instead of December 31st, it should say August 31st. I missed that in editing, so I apologize.
Can't leave now.
That's it.
I'd fire him right now if he wasn't leaving.
He's fired.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Williams, seconded by Ms. Warning. Any question on any of those many things?
Yeah, who's BIPCO, mulching and bed maintenance? I've never heard of them.
Good call.
Company that we've been using for 6 years and more, at least, actually more than that.
They're the ones that do our regular maintenance.
They do the mulching of all the beds, cutting of shrubs, and any other miscellaneous work that, we deem necessary.
So is this in the budget or is this not?
Yes. Is in the budget.
Oh,
They're outside today.
Question, all this resignation of current school board treasurer and all that, we have our business manager leaving, but we don't have an interim one. Should that have been in our personnel agenda?
We plan on, right now, Mike is currently the assistant business manager.
Okay,
So we would be coordinating with Mike to him to become intern.
okay.
And that's why I discussed with the board of getting together and. Yes.
This step will enable us to coordinate with PNC Bank and some of our banking institutions to change the signatures from myself to Mr. Zarellis.
Did they have to do this at your new school with all? Okay,
you have to bring that up.
I'm sorry.
Just turn the dagger.
I'm just saying.
On page 5, at the very top, number 3, the gravel and the cafeteria courtyard and the church.
That's the Gateway Middle School project, and that's a rear entrance of what would be the new auditorium, or no, I'm sorry, rear cafeteria. Bob, you want to explain what's going on?
Yes, the cafeteria, there was an alternate to put turf in an area of the courtyard behind the cafeteria. We felt that the price was exorbitant, and instead of doing that, to gravel it for easy maintenance, and not spend over $100,000 for turf.
Is there anything stored in that area? It's just plain gravel.
An area that's, the reason it's there is so there's daylight to the classrooms that surround it as well as the cafeteria. So that's why it's not closed in. But
There's no access
something in there.
to it.
And there's not gonna be access to it other than maintenance for any of the outside of the buildings. So it's the least expensive and adequate product.
Just thinking, so no students can get into that area, grabbing gravel, putting
No.
gravel in pockets?
Nothing.
Okay.
Throw
Is the,
items.
Cementing it too expensive compared to gravel too? What about cement? Is that?
It's just as much as turf. Yes, we looked at all those options, and with other change orders and such, we just talked about it, but that was the
Felt
best.
the most economical decision, plus aesthetically, it doesn't really impact anything because, again, there are windows from the cafeteria looking out and from the classroom looking out in a small little strip that would now become simply stone that would be dressed up.
So
But it
Bob,
would be maintained, like.
Yes.
Yeah, we have access to the maintenance, but no student access is available.
Okay.
so Bob, before you sit down, I was driving down Mosside Boulevard. I looked over, there's progress being made week after week after week. And just today, I saw that there's some framing that's been added as it for the 3 wings that face Mosside Boulevard. It's starting to look like a real school building and the
If you drive by there tomorrow, you'll see a huge crane lifting quite a bit of steel.
And that is the reason why we kind of postponed our planned walkthrough with cranes. We were notified that are going to be in there with moving steel. So it was advised to us to have the board come back in early September.
So we don't have it tomorrow?
Correct. An email went out. Yes.
Thank you, Bob.
So
We were supposed to have turf in there?
We had it as an alternate, not in the bid.
So we're not
We
saving,
provided a few options and they were just too expensive.
we're not saving anything.
No. We're not spending anything.
Yeah.
Question. Regarding our boost organizations, I had discussed with a couple parents and the different boost organizations. I know we have the clearances that we do. Is there something that we can implement so when we have the boosters working, whether concession stands, events, that they have an ID of some sort? If they don't have it, then they don't have access. Is there something for more security purposes that,
Yeah, we talked about either
Yes.
an ID, a particular shirt that they would all be given.
Mrs. Trump, are you with us?
she's gone.
She retired.
She volunteered.
She retired.
I see her on there. She's silenced right now.
She is. Well, there you go.
But to answer your question, yes. With the approved volunteer list for whatever booster organization, if it's band boosters, football boosters, we would ask for that approved list and then issue, if you want to call it a badge or a lanyard moving forward. Yes. So they would have to be worn at all times with the identification on of the person on the badge.
So we have our first game, I believe it's August 26th. Will we have the things in place by then?
Yes.
Okay. So what you're going to require then is the boost organizations to give whom the list for everything to be done?
We would need the approved list of volunteers
Okay.
from each booster group. And then those who would be working the event would be required to stop here and get the badge.
Okay, will there be, the boost organizations be notified?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
We have to make sure it's enforced. If we can have all of the procedures in place, and if it's not enforced, it doesn't do any good.
Absolutely.
Who's responsible for enforcing those during the games and not school hours? Well, I know it's a school event, but
We do have a site manager that would be responsible for that as well.
okay.
Okay.
Any other questions? Nope. Roll call, please.
Mrs. McBride,
Aye.
Ms. Mungo,
Aye.
Mr. Ritter,
Aye.
Dr. Singh,
Aye.
Mrs. Warning,
Aye.
Mr. Williams,
Aye.
Mr. Boba,
Aye.
Mrs. Cerruti,
Aye.
and Mrs. Delaney.
Aye.
Thank you. Do we have any resolutions from board members? I don't think so, correct? Nope. All right, let's move on to comments from residents on non-agenda items. Anybody? No? All righty. We're going to head over to reports. Let's start with our superintendent's report.
I'd like to thank our maintenance custodial crew for making the grounds and the appearance of everything look great as we move into the start of the 2022-23 school year. We've seen a lot of improvements, not only to the campus, to the other buildings as well, but also inside our buildings, which is very important. And I think our teachers, when they are welcome back, will see those improvements moving forward. Also, we have, as everyone, Mr. Ritter has mentioned, a lot of progress has been made on the Gateway Middle School campus. Things are on track, on schedule, and we hope to have that remain that way. We are entering year 2. It's the final year of the renovation, and we look forward to having a completed, updated, renovated building. We welcome our kids back next week. I think everyone's excited. That's who we are. That's what we do. It's why we're here. And I always remind everyone that our students come first. And every decision we make as an organization, a board, administration, should have the students in mind. And that's the important piece. And with that, I wish everyone a wonderful 22-23 school year. That's all I have.
Thank you, sir. let's get to board committee reports. Let's start with this side, Leslie McBride.
I do not have anything.
Thank you, ma'am. Ms. Delaney.
I don't have any board reports. I'm excited. School's starting back 22-23, and I'm looking forward to working on the committees, the curriculum, the equity, and various other committees that I can be of service and work with. I'm excited. I'm excited for the kids coming back and the teachers. It's always, for me, it was always very an emotional time, and when I would go into the classroom for the first day, I'd have the jitters just like they did, but it was a new start and a new beginning. And with that, I had a couple of quotes. One was a quote for the first day for elementary school. And it says, "You're off to great places. Today's your first day. Your mountain is waiting, so get on your way." That was Dr. Seuss. And then I have one for middle school, and that one is, "One day middle school will end and become high school, and after that, it just becomes life. All those things you think are important now won't be anymore." And that was from the Diary of a Wimpy Kid. And then my last one, I like Zendaya, and that's for the high schoolers who probably are familiar with her, even if some of the others are not. She says, "Don't try so hard to fit in, and certainly don't try so hard to be different. Just try to be you." And that's all I have tonight. Good luck to everyone.
Thank you, Ms. Delaney. Ms. Warning.
I just want to say welcome back to the teachers and staff, our students, and for our custodial staff, thank you. Our maintenance, thank you for everything that you guys have done this summer. You've been very busy. Appreciated places. We want to make everything safe and nice for our students and staff. And just a word out there to our band families, thank you for doing what you do. I was here with Dr. Short and Mr. Stevens on Thursday, and the closeness that you guys show with each other, you always have. But at times like this is what we need for our students and staff and our families to be together. And I just really want to say thank you. And if there's anything that any of us could do, do not hesitate at all to reach out to anyone, because we're here for you guys. And as I said, opening football day is August 22nd against Mount Lebanon. We're the game of the week. So get ready. And good luck, everyone, and have a great year. That's it.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Rucci.
I have nothing else. Really?
Well, disappointing, actually. Ms. Mungo, you can fill the void, please.
I have nothing.
Thank you. It's good to have you back, by the way. You were missed.
Thank you.
Mr. Williams.
I just don't know what Val said. Welcome everybody back, and hopefully a great year start. And also, I got a phone call from a Forbes parent, because Forbes starts earlier than us. And your busing will be under Skyward, so please look at that so you know where to catch your bus. And also on the website, do we have a link for Forbes on that?
There is a link for Forbes, yes.
They were asking me about that at Forbes. And that's all I have, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Dr. Singh.
Well, I support all the sentiments expressed for the New Start School. And something looking outside, so yesterday was 75th Independence Day of India. They have been independent from British for 75 years. And it was a big day over there. And they had 75 years of smooth transitions of powers.
Very nice, Dr. Singh. Very nice. Thank you. Mr. Ritter.
I'm the chair of our policy committee, and Val and I attended a policy update meeting for the All School Directors PSBA session today, and it was power-packed. Ms. Devlin gave a 40-minute presentation, and rather than go into all the details of the tweaks that are being made by the PSBA on policies, I'd like to just send a hyperlink to the board members so that you can play it at your own discretion, but they touched on a lot of topics that are interest to us, like dual enrollment, the kid enrolls in high school and in college course at the same time, nonprofit school food program, school safety and security coordinator, safety and security training, threat assessment stuff, security grants, Dennis talked about that, the Policy News Network, and assisting students experiencing education instability. So there's a lot of stuff, a lot of details there, too much to go into. So I'll send that out to all of us, okay?
Thank you.
That's all I got. Oh, and my sister Linda's 50th birthday. In honor of her, I'm wearing a tie today.
Well, I'm sure she appreciates you announcing her age, so thank you for that, Mr. Ritter. Now we know how old your mother is.
To me now.
And your sister, so they're going to have a talk with you. Thank you. Well, I don't have much. I want to thank everyone for their support. I'd also like to just mention that we've had a couple of significant challenges in the last number of months. I think we've learned with each one better how to deal with them, how to respond. My hope is we don't need to use any of that experience and wisdom for this coming school year. That's a hope, but in any case, good work as much as we could, given the circumstance. And do I hear?
Mr. Bova, Mr. Bova before. It hurts doing this time. Just something from the board.
Can't get this guy out of here.
You need to open that, we need to open that, like now. The box, yeah. It's for your office.
I know what it is.
The best picture ever.
This is a
graduation.
Graduation.
Last year, it was pouring and
Everybody ran from the rain except for one person sitting with.
You have to understand, there was a bolt of lightning that was so loud. It had to hit the high school. Everyone ran because there's metal bleachers in the stadium. This was 2 years ago. 2 years ago. So we're all up in the tunnel looking out on the field.
From the rain.
And there's one person sitting on the entire field on a metal seat with an umbrella like that. And Paul Schott, dedicated.
All right, now do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Can we have a second?
Second by the rest of the board.
I'm sorry, hold on. We are actually been asked to have an executive session for personnel matters not to return.
Correct. Thank you.
That motion's been made and seconded. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? All righty, have a good night, everyone. We're going to hang around here for a moment and chat about